Do you taper them up, or do you push them hard and then taper down to Wisconsin?
It kind of depends, because each individual is a little different. You know, some of them do more than others over the break, so you just kind of get them back and see where they're at and just kind of go from there. But yeah, they're all on a little different plan.
Everybody gets a weekend off, right? Big Ten schedule. Yours gives you one match from December 20th to January 20th. Is that something you have to deal with, or just how do you deal with it?
It's fine. I mean, our kids have competed their whole lives, so we're not too worried about them. We just want to make sure we're taking advantage of that time off and making sure we're moving forward and not backward, right? I mean, free time is usually not a college kid's greatest ally, right? I mean, it just never has been, probably never will be. So we just got to make sure we, have our guys focused and getting better.
How's Terrell doing the last couple of weeks? I guess we haven't got to see him.
He's doing fine. He was a little banged up going into the collegiate duels, and so as you know, we wrestled. It just gave us a chance to wrestle Levi all 3 matches also, and it only counted as one date, so that worked out just fine. But he's doing fine. He's good. It was just kind of a temporary thing.
So Levi has one more date. Is that accurate?
I believe he has. Yeah, I believe he has 2. He's only
2.
has
Okay.
3. Yeah.
Have you resolved anything at 57?
I wouldn't say we've necessarily resolved anything. I mean, Terrell has been the starter there, and Levi's done a great job, and we know he's more than willing to step in and compete. But yeah, it's just one of those deals where we'll kind of let things play out a little bit and just kind of see what happens.
When you get a guy like Levi, do you have the expectations, let's say like months before the season, that you'll be maybe in this scenario with him? Is that your hope, that he makes it tough on you guys to kind of make that call? Is that maybe an obvious answer?
I don't know if you'd want to have him make it tough. You'd want him to make an answer crystal clear would be better. But I mean, Terrell's gotten better. He works really hard. He's a really good kid. And he's been in a lot of big duels for us and has wrestled tough matches. And Terrell's a freshman and probably won't see a lot of time at 57. So you're also looking ahead, obviously, when you're planning and looking at your lineup and seeing what's the best play for these guys. You just want to do the right thing. Ultimately, obviously, they're the ones that make a decision, a great decision or not as a coach. It's up to them. So, but yeah, I think that's something we'll keep kind of playing with as we move forward.
So you meant Terrell won't spend more time 57, like he'll grow out of it?
No. I meant Levi. Levi. Yeah. I mean, Levi's a true freshman. So yeah, I mean, we've got some pretty good depth and kids coming in and stuff, and so you're just kind of trying to look ahead a little bit as much as you can. But yeah, I mean, Terrell's actually a pretty good size 57-pounder too. So, but he's just a little older, so it's a little. Usually they aren't going to grow as much at that point.
A little two-parter here.
Yep.
First is, how do you feel the team did with the collegiate duels and gotten that tough test from Iowa State?
Yeah.
And how much did the Iowa State matches that Van Ness and Facundo had kind of show them, hey, I'm right there one way or another with a couple guys that are good.
Yeah, well, I think both Shane and Alex believed and know that they were real close, right? Just sometimes, obviously, with the young kids, especially Shane. I mean, he just hasn't had a lot of matches, right? And he just was out all year, so we expect that he'll continue to improve at a really fast rate. And Facundo's right there. He's a very hard worker, very talented kid. Yeah, I mean, he's wrestling a Carr, who's a national champ, and obviously a very good wrestler. So, but yeah, I think we expected that they would be in those matches, but it's one thing to be in a match, and another one to win the match. So you just got to keep looking at it and kind of climb, kind of get over that ledge there. It's a big ledge. I mean, those are some good kids.
Those two have similar matchups this week, so
yeah.
Looking for that next step again.
Yeah. I mean, we're not. Obviously, everyone wants to win. I mean, that's just human nature. But we're more interested in just trying to get better and just competing hard, right? And if we do that, we'll be at our best in March. So that's what we're looking at.
For some of this team, the Cael Sanderson books, The movie you got caught in, is that just another reminder that baseline defense has to be solid all the time? Just something another thing we have to work on?
Yeah, I think it was, Aaron's fine. I mean, he was trying to score points. He was aggressive. Obviously, his opponent, you got to give him credit. He had very good defense, and I mean, I feel like he just kind of stepped up the wrong way and got rolled through right off his own shot. And you're talking about he's looking at driving his opponent to his back and then getting flipped through. That's a pretty big, but that's sports, so that's what makes it fun. But yeah, good experience for Aaron. I mean, he's just going to be better, stronger because of it. Stinks to lose, but sometimes you lose.
So the latest thing this year is guys sitting out. I mean, you're experiencing it, but do you think the sport has evolved to the fact that there's so much finesse now, there's more of a chance for people to get hurt, people are stronger? Is that why these guys need to sit out, do you think?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, outside of our program, I guess, are you just kind of referring to our team in general? I don't know. I think it's a tricky situation. I mean, there's different mindsets, I mean, I know a guy like Aaron, he looks at it sometimes as, well, I want to give some of these other guys on the team a chance to wrestle. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's a little tricky. I grew up, my dad was my coach. So I wouldn't miss a match for anything. I don't care what the situation is, So that's my mentality. But I think things kind of change over time. I mean, a lot of our guys, why we've been successful over the years, is because they had that same mentality, or like a David Taylor. I remember he hurt his ankle pretty bad. Like he basically had to carry him out of here, and then he wrestled that weekend. And he just like, well, I'll just get on top and end the guy, kind of a thing. And Bo Nichols, same thing. I mean, he was a guy who, he's not missing a match for anything, but I mean, his dad was also his coach, so kind of that team mentality is just really, so I just think it's the way kids could look at things differently. A lot of it's based on, just where they're raised, whatever. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I mean, you've seen some really successful wrestlers the last few years who have kind of picked and kind of chosen which matches they wanted to participate in and stuff. So, but hopefully that's not a trend. I mean, I think part of wrestling is you wrestle, go compete, and but again, we give our guys a lot of freedom, kind of make decisions and take some ownership in their careers, and we have a lot of faith, we have a lot of trust in them.
So you're giving them the responsibility to make the calls instead of enforcing,
Well, I don't think we haven't really had. I mean, I know. I'm trying to think who's. I mean, Roman set out a few matches, but that was our plan with him coming back. I mean, he wasn't even going to wrestle in the first semester, initially. It's just he did that for our team. I mean, the plan wasn't for him to wrestle the first day at the collegiate duels. He had to make weight because that was a tournament, and he chose to wrestle. And so, I have a lot of faith and trust in all of our guys, and we're just gonna have a good time competing here. I don't think there's anything. I think the bigger the match, this has been a group, and I think I've said this over the years, but it's kind of been the same group for a long time, for a few years. But the bigger the match, the better they compete, and that's really what they get excited for, And so I think that's, if it were the opposite, then it'd be a concern, right? If they don't want to wrestle in the big match, that would be a concern. But I think there's good and bad, right? I mean, like I said, you guys getting chances to compete, getting preparation. If there's a person down the road, it kind of gives your whole team a chance to be a little bit more involved. So it's all good. It's just, yeah, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to ask to follow that up, I guess. I graduated high school in 2004. I remember I had a football coach who said there's a difference between playing hurt and playing injured. I guess like in wrestling, is that line a little bit different, based on the nature of the sport? And are guys better at determining where they're at between hurt and injured, maybe? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like they're better advocates for
it kind of depends on the
maybe.
Circumstances, right? I mean, it just made me think of, Shakur Rashid. He had to. Our doctors and trainers pulled him from the tournament before the Big Ten finals, and I think he and probably we got a little slack for saying we were, but there was no reason. He had nothing to lose. He was wrestling like the #1 guy in the country, and I felt actually really bad because I think it was Miles Martin actually, and Miles Martin's unbelievable wrestler. You don't want a kid like that to be able to wrestle, but you know when your doctor and trainer tell a kid he's not wrestling, well, coaches don't have a say, and not that I would ever, but I would never. Coaches don't. That's not part of our role. You know, if a kid's hurt and there's a chance that they could further an injury or you know make it harder for them to reach their goals at the end of the year. I mean that's out of our hands and the athletes in some points. Yeah.
Do you like jumping into Big Ten competition against a team like Wisconsin that brings the fight on the road to give some adversity right away?
It doesn't matter. I mean, whatever order, whenever, wherever. You know, I mean, we're just going to go compete. And but yeah, it's a very good team. You know, very good dual meet team. You know, I know Bono was one of my coaches and was very impactful to me as a young competitor at Iowa State many years ago. And so you know, it's a tough team, and they're like we've seen the last few years. They're going to come in and wrestle hard. So we're excited. All good.